Howdy, hey! I'm just kidding.
Oh God. This is not that channel. We are in Modesto, so howdy.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to our channel. Just kidding.
Into this, we're kind of just drinking whatever the we want. So
today it's Cosmos.
Yeah. Cheers. And welcome back to another video. My name is Taylor.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we are going to be doing the stay-at-home book tag, also known as the quarantine book tag, that was created by Princess of Paperback. So thank you so much for creating that. We are very excited to play.
Yep.
We weren't tagged. We're just kind of doing it for fun.
We're just doing it because
we tagged ourselves. Let's get right into it because we have a schedule to stick to. We are busy ladies.
All right. So the first question / thing was staying in bed, which is a book you could read / have read in a day.
Yes, I chose What We Talk About When We Talk About Love by Raymond Carver. The reason I chose this was because I actually did this for a readathon, and it was the Make Your Myth Taker readathon where I had to pick a quick read. So it's literally like super short. It's a bunch of short stories, and it's like super easy to read. Like literally, I read it like story by story. Whoa, that was my phone. I read it story by story, but I basically like did not finish it all in a day. But if I would have sat down and read it, I definitely could have. You know, it's this big. It's bitty.
Okay, mine was All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, and this is a story that I didn't think I was gonna like, and then I got swept up into, and I'm pretty sure I read it in a day. I read it a while back.
But it's pretty big. Good for you.
Look at this bad boy. But no, I actually got recommended it by a YouTuber that I love, Zoe Suck, and she talked about it, and it's kind of dark, but it's a good story, a good romantic story.
The cover looks familiar, but I've never read it.
It's nice. Do you want to borrow it?
Maybe. Okay.
Moving on.
Yay! So the next one is snacking. This, by the way, we're reading the prompts. So it's snacking. What is your guilty pleasure book?
My guilty pleasure book is going to be inserted here. I didn't bring it because it's 13 books long.
She traveled 5 hours for this. So
yeah, look.
Cut her some slack.
I only brought a few books. I wasn't about to pack a huge backpack of books. But anyway, it's going to go here, and it's the Series of Unfortunate Events, which is a book series that I talk about literally all the time. It's my favorite book series. But yeah, it is my guilty pleasure read. I have watched the Netflix series. I have watched the awful movie. And I have reread it. Oh my god. I've reread the books probably about twice now. I'm currently rereading the series. But yeah, it's a quick, easy read, super fun, super in-depth for a children's book. I like the Netflix series because you can actually delve deep. Like, they should do it episode by episode, which they don't, but you know, you can't get everything. But they at least split the book up into 2 different, like, hour and a half long episodes on Netflix. And I really like it.
I chose A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas.
Of course.
Sarah J. Maas in general is my guilty pleasure. I was going to pick Kingdom of Ash because that is like literally the best final book. I will go to my death on this. It is the best final book of a series I've ever read. But I decided to go with this one because, like, while I prefer Throne of Glass, unpopular opinion, A Court of Thorns and Roses is just like such a sweet, small little series, and I feel like this one is just like the perfect little middle book. Like, it's like this. First one was just like, great, and then this one was just like, yes. And then the next one was like, great, you know? This was just like the perfect little, loved it. I don't know what else to say. It was super smutty.
Ooh.
Loved it. It was very steamy.
Wow. Okay, so Netflix. Got me all.
I feel uncomfortable that I mentioned smutty.
Whew. I'm like,
Ryan's like, can I borrow that?
Like, oh, actually, yeah, I think I will read that now. No. Next thing is Netflix, which is a series you want to start. What is yours?
Mine is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I was gifted this by my friend Erin, probably a couple months ago. And like literally, I've had it for like 4 months, and every time I keep trying to start it, I either move or I do something. Like, I have like finals. Like, every time I'm like, okay, I'm ready to start Mistborn, like something happens, and like I'm dying to to start this book because everybody loves it. I have never heard anyone say a bad thing about Mistborn. If you love it, please tell me in the comments to read this book.
Move, you start finals, you start a YouTube channel,
I start a
you
YouTube
don't have any
channel.
time to read anything else.
All of a sudden we're reading these classics.
All of a sudden you're back in high school, you're like,
yikes. But yeah, I'm really aiming to try that at some point this year. Yeah. I know once I start it, I'll probably read all 3 of them in like 2 seconds.
The best part about Taylor and I is that we don't read the same type of like books. So everything that she's mentioning, I'm like, that seems like an interesting kind of book, I guess. I'll probably maybe never read it.
I read a lot of fantasy. Randy reads a lot of like contemporary and some nonfiction.
Yeah, no, I love fiction. I love fiction. Nonfiction's like, okay, I have one that it has to do with the actual topic.
I'm looking at her stack of books.
She's like, excuse me, you're lying.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I know. No, but yeah, I was like, it's really fun because now that she mentions all of these books, I'm like, oh, that one of those seems kind of interesting, and some of them I'm like, never heard of. She talks about Sarah J. Maas all the time, so I'm like, of course.
I'll make her read it at some point.
Yeah, no,
and I'm down to read a series of unfortunate events.
It's good.
We have to do like a video series where like I read Rayanne's favorite and she reads mine. Yeah. And then we just give each other shit.
We're gonna read that on top of what we actually are supposed to be reading while we're commuting to one another. So it's gonna be like
it's a lot.
1 month we're gonna be like, oh, I'm reading 7 books, and it's like, oh my god. Yeah. Mine is also gonna be mentioned right here because I was not about to bring it. It's Lock and Key, which was actually, it's a series on Netflix that I had watched, and then I realized that it's based off of a graphic, what is it called? Graphic
novel?
Thank you. It's a graphic novel series, which, okay, so my girlfriend and I ordered it because we're all into spooky stuff, so we want to read it, and it's like, we opened 1 or 2, and it is like, heavily detailed, very spooky and scary, so I'm super excited to read that, especially with Halloween coming up. Ooh.
The next one on the list is Deep Clean. So what has been on your TBR for ages?
Damn it, we could have had such a good segue for
this
that.
This one is really calling us out.
Oh, okay, what have I had? Oh, what's been on my TBR for ages is Lily Collins' Unfiltered, which is her memoir, and I started reading it for maybe like a page or 2, and then I had it was same shit, like I had finals I had to do, I had other books I needed to read for college that I was like, I don't have time to read this. And I also did not know who Lily Collins was, but I was like, she was in The Vampire Diaries, right?
You know what? Lily Collins has been in a lot of shit.
Yeah, so anyway, Lily Collins is like...
She was in Stuck in Love, she was in The Blind Side, she was in The Mortal Instruments, she was in...
I was like...
Love, Rosie.
Yeah, so she's in a lot of stuff, and that's the thing is, I had no idea who she was, but I was like, somebody... I think it was Zoe Sugg also. She mentioned it on her YouTube and was like, this is a great book, super, like, happy-go-lucky, like, upbeat, that it's like, if you need a read that you want to, like, be really motivated into, I was like, oh, shit, okay, and then I had it, and I've had it on my bookshelf for years and years and years, and I will
say, trigger warning, though, I'm pretty sure she does talk about her eating disorder in here, so if that's something that triggers you, do some research first.
Oh, but yeah, so that's something that I've always wanted to read, but I've never gotten the chance to.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at?
Mine is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. My friend Maya sent this to me for Christmas, like, 3 years ago, and I have started it, like, I want to say 3 different times. Like, every single time I'm like, okay, I am ready to read this book, and then I'll get, like, 10 pages in, and I'm like, I'm not in the mood for it.
Yeah, I get that.
It's so hard because I know I would love it, and like she told me that I'd love it. We read the same type of books, and like I know I'm stoked for it. I'm like, the movie looks beautiful. I want to watch the movie, and I just like really want to read it. And every time I go to read it, I'm like, I don't feel like it.
It's a cute cover. I really like it. I think it's adorable. I was gonna say, I was like, I feel like I've looked at this, but I also am only imagining like Owl's Moving Castle, and I'm currently obsessed with Owl House, if you have or have not seen it on Disney Channel. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was like, wow, is that this book? And then I was like, wait, probably not. A book you recently bought because of hype. I saw it, and I straight up, we were at Barnes & Noble, and I literally was like, why does this look familiar?
First of all, I have never heard a bad thing about this book, but 100% I bought this for the cover. I'm not
really pretty.
Going to lie. I saw this in half-off books, and I was like, I recognize that. I watch a lot of booktubers. I just assumed that I have seen this. And I was like, this is a beautiful cover. So I bought this, the Starless Suit by Erin Morgenstern. I bought this shit for the cover. And because it was $10. You know how much it normally is? $28.95. What a steal.
That's why we
love you half-off books.
We love half-off books because they genuinely stick to exactly what they say they're going to do.
And look how new it looks. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Half-off books, man, they're amazing.
Anyways, yeah. I couldn't pass it up. I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
I have to. I bought it for that reason.
Mine straight up is You're a Badass, which was like, had huge hype, maybe like 4, 5, 6 months ago where everybody was reading it. Maybe even a year ago. A year to like
I think it's
6
been
months
a while.
ago. Yeah, people were literally raving about this book that I was like, you know what? I'm like not really into like self-help books, but like this seems cool as hell, and I'm like behind this whole like, you're a badass, go ahead and do your shit, make that money, do whatever. That I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read that.
And now there's like, how many of them, I think?
I think there's like 2 or 3.
Quite a few, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, shit, okay, I guess I'll hop on this train too.
If there's something that can trick me into getting my life together, I'm sold. Like,
yeah, I'm like, wow, give me
do I
motivation.
feel productive? Then I'm winning.
Yeah.
The next one is productivity. It's a book you learnt or had an impact on you.
Learnt.
What did you learn from it?
I'm gonna put another one here because it was a Kindle read, and it's something that I had in my Pride TBR, or my Pride-a-thon.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, it's my Black Girl Magic by Mia Mackenzie. She just like opened my mind to so many more things that I didn't realize were actually a thing. They're small, Tumblr-sized, just like essays that are maybe like less than 200 words that she put into this book, and it's just a compiled Tumblr like account that she had, which was Black Girl Magic, and it's just amazing. It's small little essays written, small little poems that she wrote that I'm like, yeah, I love reading about it and learning shit, and it's great, and it's something that I really learned from, that I was like, wow.
Yeah. I pick 2 for this one?
Go ahead.
Okay. I didn't plan to pick 2, but now that we've been talking, I'm like, you know what? I have the perfect one. But first, I have the Sellout by Paul Beatty. This one, okay, we had to read this one for class at Fullerton, and literally, it was just like supposed to be like, the way I had gone into it, I was like, it's supposed to be this humorous book. It is like, we read it in the time that we were like, okay, let's talk about humor and what humor does in a novel. And like, literally, like
hearty heart humor?
Yeah, like,
okay.
I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's very much like set up like a constant joke, but it's like, you know how like, I don't know how to explain it. It's very dark humor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always a fan of dark humor. That's why I'm like, wow, this seems like a book that I would like to read.
Yeah, so basically the main character, it's been a while since I've read it and I did not do my research, so I'm so sorry. But the main character is like this black man from Dickens, and basically like his hometown has been taken off the map. So it's dealing with like black erasure, which is a really, really intense subject, where I was like, every 5 minutes I was like, this is really intense, and then he'd like break it with some humor, and I was like, I feel so uncomfortable. And like, that's kind of the point of it. Like, it's supposed to make you uncomfortable, and it's supposed to make you afraid to laugh, but really think about things. I was like, I watched a couple of his interviews, and he was like, people would like try to ask him, so is this what this meant? And he would just be like, Paul Beatty like didn't give anything away. Like, everything was based off of your perception. So
Very
it was super interesting. I highly, highly recommend it because like, I swear I could not stop thinking about it after I read it.
I'm gonna steal that from you because
100%. Yeah, I read it in
definitely.
I read it in my 306 class, I think. A white woman made a joke, and then she realized that somebody who was black was in her presence, and she got super uncomfortable, and he was like, no, that's funny, and like literally like laughed along with her. But you can tell like that's what this book is supposed to do to you. It's, if you are white, it is supposed to make you think about what you think is funny and what you think is important to talk about.
Yeah.
And it really checks you, and I think that's important. If you are white, you were supposed to read black material in order to check yourself.
Personal check-in, you know?
Highly recommend the Sellout.
Yeah.
Second one that I think is How It Feels to Be Colored Me by Zora Neale Hurston.
Oh, Zora
I
Neale
read that one. She is my favorite author in the entire world. Like, I have read... we're gonna read more of her work on here.
She does, but Their Eyes Are Watching God. I read it in, like, 5th grade, okay? Do you understand how, like, much I was like, wow, I can barely understand what's going on here, but this is good. Like, I was like, yes! Hard material. Like, I don't know what
literally, there were so many times I did speech and debate, so every time I had impromptu, I was like, let's talk about Zora Neale Hurston.
They're like, oh no, this is the Zora Neale Hurston. Oh god, okay, swerve.
But for real, like that, like essay was one of the first, that's the reason I changed to a literature major, 100%. Because first I was a communications major. I read it at my junior college in Modesto, and I was like, literally, it made me change my whole entire perspective on reading. It made me think so much about, like, the past, life, growing up, becoming an author, like, literally everything. It changed my perspective on everything. But basically, she literally, like, has this essay where she talks about growing up as a black woman, and, like, she was born right after slavery was abolished. So while she never had to experience slavery, her family, her parents, and her grandparents before her did. So she's talking about, like, what it was like growing up in that community and, like, loving yourself in the midst of that.
Yeah.
So, like, if you need just, like, this really uplifting, beautiful take on, like, what it is like in that situation, I highly recommend it. Like, I cry every time thinking about it.
It was just impeccable, and I'm just like, wow, this is somebody who I never quite thought of as a writer, and now I'm like, eyes are open. Like, now I need to hone in on her because she's a classic writer that can just write so eloquently and just is so, like, provocative in what she says that you're like, ooh, I'm kind of sucked in, and it's not ever something that you would ever be thought.
It's like she talks about race, but then she also talks about, like, the mentality behind why we're talking about race. Yeah. So it really, like, again, if you are a white person, I recommend Zora Neale Hurston because there are times that she checks you and she makes sure that you take a step back and really think about how you treat the people around you.
Moving on to FaceTime. It's a book you were gifted.
Ready? Mine.
She did that so hard.
I think we're getting drunk. I think we're at this point where we need to finish, and I'm getting kind of sweaty.
Okay, so we're gonna speed this up a little bit. What were you gifted?
I was gifted All the Light We Cannot See. It was on my Amazon wish list, and I sent it for my graduation party. I'm so sorry if you can hear my dog. She is shaking it off. But
shaking it.
All I can think of is Taylor Swift now. But I put this on my Amazon wish list, and it was sent to all my family. So my sister Mindy got this for me for my graduation. Cool. So this will be one of the books I read soon. I think it's beautiful. I think it has excellent reviews, and I don't know too much about it other than, like, basic summary of it. But instead of going into it, we're just gonna put it there. Thank you, Mindy. Love you.
All right, mine was The Outsider. It actually was from it's not my best friend, it's Katie's best friend. We went to go visit her for her wedding, and we are actually planning this whole, so on top of
Is it Cosmo set again? I think so.
Is it? I love Cosmos. Anyway, on top of Tipsy Book Talks, I'm also doing a Stephen King book sharing club with both my girlfriend and myself, as well as one of her best friends, Chelsea. If you're watching, you're welcome. Where we are exchanging
Taylor.
Formal introduction, you're welcome. Where we're exchanging Stephen King novels, and one of the first ones that she gifted me was The Outsider, and I quickly also bought Carrie, The Stand, The Shining, like the first 4 or 5 books within the Stephen King writing universe. So on top of already reading all the books Taylor and I are reading, I want to start reading Stephen King because I love me a good horror movie, so I'm gonna assume that I'm gonna love me a good horror book. But yeah.
I've never read Stephen King. I tried to read The Longest Walk. The Longest Walk.
The Longest Walk?
Katie's looking
Longest Yard?
Football.
Yeah, sports.
Yeah. Anyways, I tried to read The Long Walk by Stephen King, and I just remember it being like, it would go from like super simple to like randomly super gory, and I was like, this is pretty cool, but I don't remember why I didn't finish it.
This is cool, I guess. Yeah, no.
I think I just wasn't in the mood for it at the time, but if I got into it around Halloween, I'd probably love it.
The Long Walk.
I knew it was The Long Walk. I was getting it mixed with The Longest Yard.
While we're visiting Taylor, I also bought like It, and we bought like a couple other Stephen King novels. So we're about to start delving into this.
Ready
and
for Halloween.
Hopefully we can jump into that. But yeah, let's go into self-care. This is something that does not have to do with books at all, but it is. What is something that you've been doing to take care of yourself?
Me personally, I have put a lot of work into this office, and that has been like my like me time. First of all, okay, well I've been rereading all of the Throne of Glass books by Sarah J. Maas. It's hella basic, I know, but I've been listening to the audiobook because Elizabeth Evans does that, and she's so good. But I've been listening to those while redoing my office, and like that has been like my me time. Like, okay, I painted a bookshelf, I deep cleaned, I cleaned the walls, like set up all the posters myself. I put a lot into this, and that's like that cleaning and putting things together has been so like nice for me.
What have I been doing for self-care, you ask? Wow. Anyway, I've been journaling. I've been doing face masks. I'll take some bubble baths every once in a while. You're welcome.
We drink a lot of alcohol.
Taylor thinks she's funny. She is, but like, wow.
I'm
it
really
is
funny.
It is.
We read a
wow.
lot of books.
Okay, we gotta hurry. We're gonna run out of time. Okay, name a book coming out soon that you're excited for. This is the bonus question.
This is a bonus, and I didn't know. Like, okay, so there was a couple that just came out that I was like, I can't wait to read them. One of them was the Song of Wraiths and Ruin, I believe. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone says it's freaking amazing. I need to look it up. I will put it in the description. I'm so sorry. But everyone's been talking about it on book Twitter, and I just like can't wait to read it. But I think it's already come out, by the way. Second one is the next one in the Shadowhunters Chronicles, which is, I don't have it up here, but I normally get them on audiobook, but the next of the Red Scrolls of Magic series. So the one with Magnus and Alec.
Okay, so realistically, I am not as big in BookTube as Taylor is, so she gets a lot more notifications about things coming out. I don't, so I'm just like, ooh, I go to Barnes & Noble, and that's all new to me. So.
Oh, I forgot one. Addie LaRue. Sorry.
Addie LaRue.
Sorry.
But yeah, so I'll put it here. It's going to be, I looked them up, was The Lost Jewels by Christy Manny, which were both somewhat suspenseful as well as a little spooky. So we got The Lost Jewels by Christy Manny and All Eyes on Her by Ellie Flynn. I also looked both of these up. You're welcome for the jingle in the background. That's Luna.
Katie put a hair tie on her ear.
Did you give her a little ponytail?
It was hilarious. She looked so
A
offended.
little ponytail.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, I have two that I'm kind of excited for, but I also feel like in like a month I'll probably forget about. So realistically, I'll just read whatever I see that I pick up. Mostly my Stephen King, I guess. That's probably what I'm looking forward to.
We try to switch between like moderns and classics.
Don't like me.
We can only do so much together, so for the most part we're basically focusing on classics and then whatever else we read is like on our own time. So if you want us to talk about more modern novels, we definitely can.
Yeah, we're trying to focus more on modern novels as well. Can you not? We're trying to focus on classics and moderns. But right now, we are a little tipsy, and I think we're also definitely done with this video. So if you haven't checked us out, we're posting mostly on Instagram at tipsy_book_talks. So check us out. We post a lot of our content there. We post about upcoming things.
Yeah, we are having, again, 5 new Halloween videos coming up in the month of October. So if you have any spooky recommendations, we're going to be reading Frankenstein and hopefully Dracula if we can get to it.
Yep.
But we also want to do a modern novel. So if you have a spooky modern novel that you would like us to get to, we would love to hear your recommendations. So please comment down or comment down here, and we will post every Thursday, so please follow us. Thank you so much for watching, and cheers!
Cheers, everybody! Bye!